This is a Headgum podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, finally.
Either way.
Good. This is good.
You want that one?
This is my.
Well, they've
it's
taken
too
away
late.
the color option because
Right.
it used to be this blue one was over here. Why'd you do that?
I don't know. I didn't do it.
Why did
They
you do
did
that?
Well, that's
I just show up.
throwing people under the bus already. Chris has only been here for.
I have a sprained ankle, so at some
Oh.
point I might do this. Is that okay?
What, levitate your foot?
my
Sure.
Yes.
You can do that. Doesn't
Yes.
damage the table.
Yeah.
Do you want to take your shoe off?
I don't think I'm going to do that.
Okay. How'd you sprain your ankle?
I was carrying my daughter to a water park and I fell off a curb. What
Did
about
you-
How'd you sprain your ankle?
I had sprained the other ankle.
Yeah.
And I was hopping over. So the old house I used to live in, there's a little driveway and about a foot curve, that goes up the driveway, and there's like a little lawn, and there was a like old fashioned mailbox, on a post,
Mm-hmm.
and I had been gone for a while, and I had pretty severely sprained my ankle, and then I hopped over the thing with my good foot and landed, unbeknownst to me, in the divot that was left by the mailbox post. And then so I had to crawl up to my door like army man
So now
style.
you have to decide.
The two
which one?
sprained ankles. And if you look closely,
And I would like, I would like to see your bare feet during this pod. If that's
Yeah,
okay.
sure.
It's okay. You don't have to. I knew he was going to yes and it.
well,
God
I
damn
have, you have a comedy background.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not just journalism and tennis, right?
That's right.
Okay, so this is you can.
I am not doing this to you.
All right.
That one looks pretty good, actually.
Well, this has two broken bones.
Does it really?
You see, my foot is a little deformed here
Shoes are
compared to the other one. This is also from when I was in Croatia,
No, I
Dubrovnik.
feel like there's something there that's not supposed to be there.
That's
Not supposed.
that's not supposed to be there, but you can see
Oh,
the severity.
Yes.
See how my foot juts in like that? That's because
Hold
this
on,
is.
leave him out there. This
Okay.
is too good. Yeah, I mean.
So,
why would-
so yeah, my feet are all fucked up. So I broke this bone
yeah.
right here, and you can
Yeah.
see it's protruding because I never got it fixed because it's a foot bone.
Well, what do you do? I mean, I broke my pinky once.
Yeah.
And I went into the podiatrist, and they were like, "What? There's nothing we can do. We can tape it to the other."
Exactly.
So you
Well,
deal
my
with it.
wife was getting on me because
Is this microphone? I feel like this isn't too far away from me.
It sounded good when I was.
Well, all right. All right.
Um,
I'm not going to worry about it.
this one I had two fractures. You can see this is jutting out over here. So my right foot. So I broke this
Yeah.
big toe bone. This big. You can see it's like sticking out there.
You got a little thing there too.
Well, that's bone. That's the
Right,
bone from
right.
fusing incorrectly or whatever. But I was kicking sticks with my dog, my old dog, Ollie,
Okay.
in a big, huge park. And I would like kick him hard. Like,
The sticks.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Flying.
Yeah.
Get her to run around as much as possible.
Yeah.
And I wound up Justin Tucker style to bring my foot all the way back to kick this stick, pretty healthy looking stick. And I fucking came in hard, and it was a root in a tree.
Oh,
So,
God.
and I knew immediately,
Yeah.
oh, that's broken. And
Foot
then this
stuff,
one,
foot
same one.
stuff is no good.
Yep, this was, you can see this is protruding there because it didn't, I mean, again, what are you supposed to do? But see how my
Yeah.
toes are all messed up? And then this thing is all curved.
I
funny.
would have thought if I just looked at your feet and didn't know whose body they were attached to, I would have said this could be a ballerina.
Really?
You know,
A shitty
a
ballerina?
shitty ballerina with broken feet.
Yeah.
They have terrible feet, and it's the one thing when you break, you can't lay off it. What do you? I mean, you just lay and this was bad for.
Well, that's why you get married,
that's why you get married.
you know?
I put my foot up for a day. It starts to feel better, and then you got to go about your life.
Yeah.
Yeah, and your partner,
as you should.
you-
You'd be an excellent pioneer, Michael.
and my wife was like, I'll help you for a day and a half. And then that's kind of now let's go grown up. So here we are. So that's why
I'm the same. I'm in your wife's camp.
Yeah.
My
God.
My wife and I are from very different worlds in that aspect, and I'm very much the walk it off generation. Like,
yeah.
Is
there anything worse than when your partner gets sick? I feel like when my kid gets sick, I love her more, but when my wife gets sick, it's like I don't want anything to do with this person. Am I a bad person?
Yes.
Yes.
No, you're a bad husband,
yes.
a bad partner.
Right.
I don't think you're a bad person per se, but
fair.
How old is your daughter?
My daughter is almost 5.
Okay.
And almost 2. So she not the same.
She goes
one.
back and forth. She found a tear in the time fabric.
That's correct, and that's what.
So she's got a
so
looper
difficult
thing going.
To parent is.
Yeah.
Are we dealing with a 5-year-old? Or are we dealing with a 2-year-old?
So it's like a Freaky Friday thing. The 2-year-old got switched with a 5-year-old's body.
That's why
and vice versa. And what a boring movie that would be.
And that's why we named her that.
Vice versa or Freaky Friday?
Freaky Friday.
Okay.
But I think it's commendable that when your wife is sick, sounds like a knight in shining armor.
I'm not.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
She and her mom is the same way. She really feels fulfilled and finds validation in caring for other people, or not other people, but me because I think it meshes well because I really don't like being taken care of. You know what I mean? I mean, we just had completely different backgrounds, different moms, different situations growing up. And I'm the, tough it out. I don't go to the doctor unless it's, but she will.
It's evident.
Yes.
Yeah.
But again, what are you supposed to do?
I know.
You're not supposed to. There's nothing to do. If you look up, if you Google, I broke my pinky toe, my foot. Well, I guess toe is foot. Yes. So that was all right. It was extraneous.
It's getting rough.
So it'll tell you, just tape it together, put some gauze there, and that's what I did, and I saved myself $5,000 going to a fucking American foot doctor to go, you should put some tape on that.
I wonder if podiatry is just where they put all the people that failed. It's possible.
I mean, I feel like I could be a podiatrist.
A toe, the toe, there's not a lot you do with toes.
That's what I'm talking about. So if your specialty is toes, you're making a shit ton of money to sit back in some cushy office and go, there's not a whole lot I can do with that. You can put some gauze in between there and tape it up, get some...
you do have to look at people's feet.
That's
but I get to do that even on this podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Which is so good.
My feet are ugly. I mean, they've gotten uglier over time. And I have to get a special... Oh, this is kind of interesting.
Those are 2 solid...
Yeah, that's some gelatinous liquid in there that, they don't have to... They're like, we can... Take it out. You don't need it. It doesn't do anything.
I had a man yesterday, and I don't say this lightly.
Congratulations.
I had a man yesterday.
That's great.
Put his hands on my ankles and move the bones and the blood around, and it felt really nice, David. And it helped my sprain.
Well, I would hope so. Otherwise.
He was a athletic trainer. He was a physio. So he said. But I will say I was surprised with the sprain that moving it and rubbing it made it feel better.
But did it hurt at the time when he was doing it?
No, it was like right on the edge.
Oh, okay.
Right on the edge.
Do you have a high tolerance for pain?
I don't know. I don't know about that. How do I know that?
Well, by being in the company of other people who don't have a high tolerance for pain.
I would say then that I think I'm medium.
Yeah. It sounds about right.
It sounds about right for...
I know an awesome lady who... She's Irish. This will give you some insight.
Yeah.
Who had dental work done without any Novocaine.
That's wild.
Or any kind of numbing agent at all.
I would have thought I was tough until I had a root canal, which is bad.
It's excruciating.
But why would this Irish person do this? This Irish woman?
I don't remember. I'll have to ask her next time I see her. But it was. She's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's.
I did a piece for the Daily Show where we went to Yuma, Arizona.
Oh.
and 6,000 Americans a day cross the border to Mexico for dental care.
Yeah.
For a lot of reasons. So then we went to this dental office in Mexico, and guess what it was? Nicer than anything I've been to here.
Oh, yeah.
It was unbelievable.
Oh, you don't have to tell me. I lived in London for years, and I've had, I had a emergency root canal, and I'll spare you all the horrific details, but it was extremely painful, and it was emergency being the key word, which I didn't know until the dentist. I was getting a cleaning, and that dental technician, I was in such pain. The dentist wasn't there, so she went down the street and then around the corner. It was this area. Is like in what is it? Doesn't matter. It's if I said the name, you
right.
But
Piccadilly Square.
No, it's not Piccadilly Square.
That's
but
the one.
The
Wimbledon.
One
no. Okay. I'll stop.
It was kind of a fancier part of town, and there just happened to be a lot of dentists and doctors in this area. And she went around the corner, down the street, around the corner, came back with this guy.
Whoa.
Who was in the middle of another patient and said, you looked at x-rays, confirmed what the technician thought. And he's like, you have to have an emergency root canal right now.
What?
Got somebody to fill in for him because he was just doing a routine thing, and gave me right then and there, which is, it's a long process. You got to extract it. There's Novocaine. You got to do the root canal. Then you got to fit for a temporary crown. Then you got to get the crown, et cetera, et cetera. And I got whatever it was, like Motrin or ibuprofen or some other shit that they prescribed me and gave me a bottle of to leave with. After all that, my bill was 68 pounds.
It's wild.
So I got everything done except for the permanent crown. I got back to LA. I'm
happy to hear that that's the same thing as here, because I always thought that come back later for the crown thing was bullshit.
Well, no, they got to fit it.
I know, but I always thought it was. I had a feeling it was bullshit.
Are you a conspiracy theory guy?
Absolutely. When it comes to dentistry, I believe so.
But beyond dentistry, like...
I wouldn't necessarily call myself...
Chemtrails.
No, I wouldn't necessarily think. I know it'd be more interesting if I was.
Well,
but dentistry,
I just think if you think that something that, to me, I don't question at all, just because of the obvious, they have to fit it into your mouth.
It makes sense.
They can't just have a bunch of crowns willy-nilly on the shelf and they go, this one, and then shove it in there.
Get him a 6.
I don't think it works that way.
Yeah.
So I've never questioned it. But when I did, I got, everything was taken care of except for the permanent crown, which was sent to LA, where I was going for like a 2-week Christmas vacation with my then girlfriend, now wife, their family and stuff. And she's like, you got to go see my dentist, orthodontist, whatever. And, basically mile and a half away, a couple miles away, Santa Monica, go there, get the crown put in, all that stuff, $5,000. 68 pounds
versus
for an emergency root canal.
How did you process the Luigi Mangione stuff? Because it was such a healthcare is such a triggering subject, but then so is cold-blooded murder. How did David Cross process that?
I didn't
Am I allowed to ask him questions on here?
Yeah,
yes,
of course.
Okay.
I have a question for Chris. Could you
press record, please?
I was I don't know what your AI capabilities are, but could you redo my feet in post?
Yes. Absolutely.
Okay. Just put bunny slippers on them or something.
Yeah.
Okay. No, could I get could you get me a cold brew
nice.
with oat milk? My throat is all, I had to postpone this
right now?
No, I had to.
Right.
We were supposed to do it on Friday, I think.
I think that's right.
I was not yet over this sickness, and I'm doing this play starting tomorrow. And there's
Right.
lots of talking and
Holy shit! How do
lots of
actors
voices.
do that with the voice?
One cold brew with.
oat milk, please. And would you like
No,
anything?
I'm great. I
All
have
right,
my
thank you.
La Croix.
I didn't have time. I
No, all good.
apologize.
The voice is something that is important to take care of.
Yeah, after I finish this podcast, I'm not talking for the rest of the, I mean, I have a Zoom call at 4.
Yeah.
After that, I'm not talking.
I'll do some talking after this.
Okay.
I've decided I'm not going to.
Will you come back to my place and
Yes.
I will write things down
Yes.
and you can talk to my wife?
Yeah. But how will you manage the voice in a play? That's tricky.
There was like they gave us a instructional pamphlet, as it were, several pages from a voice lady and telling you how for theater. Yeah,
that's interesting. My friend who's a musician says sugar-free gum. I don't know.
Really?
I don't know.
I'm like old school tea and honey and lemon person. I'm gonna take this off, guys.
Yeah, one by one. One by one, it's all coming off.
Yeah. Just
shirt out.
Shirt happens. Instead of shit happens, shirt happens.
This is what happens when Chris leaves.
You add an R. Shit happens? Hey, try adding an R. Shirt happens. That's fun.
That's good.
What were we talking about? The feet?
We were talking about Luigi Mangione, which is a sad topic, but I'm kind of curious how you process it.
Okay, I felt zero sympathy for the guy who was killed.
Okay.
It'd
be fun to edit that and not know like what he's talking. It's just kind of like that would be some AI shit. Okay, you felt zero sympathy for the healthcare CEO.
Yes, I feel sympathy for his family.
Yeah.
But I mean, I thought it was really smart. I don't know if Luigi wants to drive his message home, is willing to sacrifice himself to kill somebody else. I thought it was smart for him to put their very words on the bullet.
I heard one of the bullets said michaelcosta.com on them, which I thought was interesting because why was he trying to promote my stand-up dates? But I don't know if that's just what I heard.
Yeah. But that bullet wasn't used. That was the one he was going to self-inflict.
Right.
Saving the michaelcosta.com. Do you want to plug your dates? Go ahead.
Oh, no, I don't need to.
Really? Everything's sold out?
No, I already did it on the bullets.
Oh.
You can go to michaelcosta.com for my stand-up dates. But he seemed so smart with the bullets. That blew me away.
Yeah.
Has anybody seen a picture of that? I'd like to see what that actually looked like. Was it like... Or he seemed so smart with the bullets, but then also he seemed so dumb, like he got caught with the gun in his bag and all that stuff.
I'm not saying he's a smart guy.
Right.
I think that particular thing to drive your message home, to have people talking about it, to say, the things he said in his manifesto. I mean, I understand. I don't condone murder, but I understand for sure being that upset. I mean, the countless thousands and thousands of people who've died unnecessarily because of specific actions or inactions that the U.S. Healthcare.co. So, I mean, it
was that.
You know who should have shot him?
Who?
Trump. Then he wouldn't go to jail.
Oh, because he would have pardoned himself, or because he has immunity, or because
he has immunity, and he said back in 2016, like I could shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and I wouldn't go to jail. And he was right.
Why would Ivanka Trump need to shoot the healthcare CEO? Is that who you meant?
Barron.
Barron Trump. Yeah. Are we, is he free game now? We can make fun of Barron now?
Fuck yeah.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, I remember, I mean, nobody has double standards quite like Republicans, but I remember the Republican Party.
Right.
Well, Christians are probably worse, but the constant making fun of Chelsea Clinton.
Oh my God, you're right. I was just
Amy Carter. I was a kid.
I was just wondering who you were going to say, and I remember
Chelsea Clinton.
It was.
She was a kid.
So why was it not okay with
preteen?
Yeah,
because they're double standard. Yeah. They're hypocrites. They're full of shit.
Yeah,
and that's their thing.
You bring up an interesting point about the escalation of Trump's crimes. If he would commit murder, what would happen? That would be wild. That would be wild.
I don't think it covers murder, but I think he would get away with it because people would want him to get away with it.
Yeah.
So they would they'd find some defense to shoehorn into the, self-defense or, stand your ground, one of those things.
I hoped Luigi's manifesto was a little more put together.
Yeah.
Because the bullet thing was very powerful. Nice imagery there, Luigi, and whatever team helped you come up with this, whatever marketing firm helped him with that.
I think it was IDPR.
That's right. I think you're right.
Yeah.
But it really unraveled from there. And
who's your PR company?
I don't have a PR company. Yeah.
Oh, right. Hence the MichaelKosta.com bullet.
I got anywhere.
But you have a bunch of bullets out there, right?
I got a bunch of bullets, and I'm just you hope for the best.
Yeah. What's the caliber?
I don't know what Luigi used. Was it a 9mm? Is that the caliber?
I think it was 108.
Do you know about calibers?
I know about calipers, and that's off by one letter. So I know John Calipari.
Right. Yes.
The basketball.
Sure. The head coach.
Head coach. Yeah.
Yep. You are from the South?
Thank you.
Is that right?
Is that a compliment?
Well, I don't know. I'm asking because I would think I would guess people from the South know more about guns than people from the North. I don't know if that's true.
I am from the South. Okay. Yes. Okay. Guns were not really a big issue. I mean, it wasn't a big deal. It was, but also like the Confederate flag, was everywhere. And it didn't register with me. Like I kind of got it, but I kind of got why some people were upset, but also it seemed like whatever, now that as an adult, I get it. I understand completely. But so guns were, and gun proliferation is relatively new in this country. It's not, it was not until what, like 30 years ago? Not even, maybe.
What do you mean by you mean
everyone having guns was not a thing.
Right.
Nobody gave a shit.
Right.
If you wanted a gun, you went and got a gun. And it was not a thing until like I want to say like late 90s, late 90s.
What changed that? Was there what?
The NRA. It was marketing this idea that I think it was twofold. It was American and manly, and it was the Democrats want to take your guns away, which of course never happened.
Right.
But they did want regulations. And so the NRA, said it was a fundraising tool, very effective, and they sold a shitload of guns. And every time anything happens, they sell more guns.
Obama gets elected, a lot more guns.
Yep.
That's scary and sad in a lot of ways. I recently reacquired.
Where are you from? I'm sorry.
I'm from Michigan originally.
Okay.
Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Oh, I love Ann Arbor. I love Ann Arbor.
You like Ann Arbor?
I do, yeah.
I think it's a great city.
You don't like it?
No, I do like it very much.
I have not spent, I've been there probably 7, 8, 9 times doing shows, but I always have good shows. Where were you performing?
Michigan Theater, maybe?
Whatever the big theater on the Strip.
Maybe Hill Auditorium, yeah.
No, it was whatever the theater.
I think that's Michigan Theater. David Cross feels perfect for Ann Arbor. And I mean that as like a compliment. It is...
Well, it's the most literate city, yes.
It's very literate.
Yeah.
It's very literate.
I literally mean it has been... whoever decides these things, that it is the most well-read, literate city in America. One
of my friends growing up, last name Borders. Ever heard of Borders Bookshop?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's literate. That's literacy. That's literature.
Oh, it's capitalism.
It's capitalism. It's a retail shop.
He's selling my words for a profit.
But a great city... I grew up there's comedy coming through all the time.
Hmm.
You know, it's like a Madison and
I love Madison too.
Yeah, I actually saw you for 10 minutes in Madison at the theater.
And then
there.
you left.
Well, I was at the Comedy on State. I had to do my show.
Okay.
And I had 10 minutes to come see who was at Orpheum, which was you.
When was this?
8 years ago.
Okay.
I forget. I can't even tell you.
The Orpheum's the theater on the strip
on State.
On State, right? Okay.
I can't tell you even what you were talking about, to be honest with you.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know either. I mean, but
8 years ago.
I wanted to see the theater, and then you were performing, so I quickly popped in, and clapped for you, and then had to do my show. But Ann Arbor's a great town in the sense that it valued education, learning, arts, but it was small enough that you could try stuff and fail, and open mics were it was great.
Yeah,
it was great.
yeah. I mean, there are a few more comforting, comfortable places for me to be in than a college town.
Yeah.
They tend to be liberal, progressive, cultural, and they're not too big. Really good bars usually. Have you been to Missoula, Montana?
I flew into Missoula and then had to drive 4 hours another direction. But is Missoula a good spot?
Great. Yeah. Not quite I don't think as big as Ann Arbor or Madison. Certainly not as big as Madison. But it's a awesome little college town.
There's so many great little towns, and it makes me so appreciative that we have them.
Yeah.
Because you forget. When you go
Athens,
from
Georgia.
Athens is great.
Athens is great. I'm taping my special there at the 40 watt. I don't think it's been announced officially.
Well,
but
put it on a bullet.
I'll put it on a bullet.
When is that happening?
It'll be May 31st. 2 shows at the 40 watt.
That's exciting.
Which is a place that I've played over the decades numerous times, going way back.
Yeah.
And awesome room. I love Athens. And
the hour's ready. It's
way ready.
It's piping hot.
This is the latest I've ever shot something.
Yeah.
I mean, I started touring in September.
Okay.
Michael,
this stuff is going to be.
My set is evolving.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And we'll see if it changes if Trump is elected. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
If he's
if there's some new material coming out. Man, it's a good thing that they got rid of those DEI hires. Good Lord. There wasn't one air fatality in Biden's 4 years in office. Not one. And then Trump got rid of everybody.
I know.
And then there's 2 immediately, back to back.
Well,
did you see what he said about, besides blaming black people, gay people, and women? He said, he's so dumb. The thing about, the helicopter could have gone up or down or sideways. Could have gone sideways. Could have gone up or down. Like, that's
he was live tweeting the crash.
The pilot.
Yeah, well,
the pilot was.
Yeah, no. The Trump was like, when it happened, he said this is terrible. What happened? And it was like, he's just not good at the presidenting stuff. He is a good campaigner.
He's a great campaigner.
He's a great fighter.
But
man, just
clearly
take a deep breath and let this thing evolve for a second.
No, that's not his style.
But what do you think about this? What do you think about his strategy that maybe he just tries to flood the zone with bullshit so we, media, liberals, whatever, bite DEI, and then that becomes its own storm?
Yeah. Well, it's very effective.
It's very effective.
I believe page 42 of The Art of the Deal.
Yeah, right.
It's right in there.
And if you're anti-Trump, you're immediately woke, right? That's another one of his strategies.
That's fine. I'll take it. I'm woke.
Right.
I'm progressive. I'm liberal.
Right.
I believe in equality. I believe in fairness. I believe in the law.
That's a good way to combat saying.
I believe in sharing. I know that's going to be illegal soon, but I believe in sharing. Yeah.
The DEI stuff is wild. How they've weaponized it. The executive. So that crash happened, And then
it was because of black women
that's
or a gay black woman. Oh my God! Are you kidding me?
Is that what he said?
Well, he said it was because of DEI.
Right.
So
because the FAA had been hiring.
Yeah, you don't have to make too much. The connection is literally from here to there.
Right.
Right. So you mean diversity, equity, and inclusion, which means to anybody,
somebody screwed up that was
affirmative action.
Yeah, right.
A black person was in there. Could have been a woman. Could have been a black person. Could have been a Mexican.
I got a book coming out.
You got a book coming out.
Yep.
Called
Lucky Loser.
Lucky Loser.
And it's my story. I wanted to be a professional tennis player. I was a professional tennis player, but I didn't make it.
Meaning you didn't crack the top 100 or however that works?
I didn't crack the top 100. My career high ranking was 864 in the world in tennis. Thank you.
Who was just
that's a great
behind
question.
you?
That's a great question. Like, who was 865? But I was 863 places away from being the greatest tennis player in the world. David, that's big. That's big. And then upon failing at tennis, however you want to describe that, I moved over to comedy, and here we are. And
that's an oft-told tale. That happens a lot,
very frequent.
So what is that? I'm sure it's all in the book, but what?
I should have brought a book. I didn't even have one.
Yeah,
maybe we can find an image somewhere on the internet.
Okay, for the listeners.
Okay. Yeah.
So what is? So how do you get ranked, first of all?
Yeah.
And who's doing this? Is it just some dude somewhere?
Are these people? I mean, it's a computer, but that's a great question. Like, where is the computer? Where is the master computer?
Yeah.
That's my question.
Probably in a Bond villain's
the tennis computer. You get points. I mean, it's very when you really
sort of like boxing, I guess. You're doing more ranked fights that are, legitimized and that's not the right word, but like sanctioned or whatever.
Exactly.
Okay, so you're playing. So you start as an amateur. You can enter these open tournaments, much like signing up for an open mic. Okay. Anybody can enter. You could actually sign up. And there's an MC? There's an MC. You get paid in drink tickets and mozzarella sticks. And it's pay to play? Pay to play. You have to get 5 people to come watch the match. And if you qualify by beating certain players, you get to the main draw of these tournaments. And then if you win a round, you get 1 point. 1 point would when I was playing, 1 point would get you a 1,600 ranking. When you say world. 1 round, is that just 1 round of tennis? Yeah, that's 1 round of tennis. So it's a round of 32 draw. You win, you're in the round of 16. So got it. That would get you 1 point. Mm-hmm. And then you'd be tied with 1,000 people at 1,600 in the world. So my career high was 864. I had like 13 of these points. Mm-hmm. If you win the U.S. Open, David, and I suspect you will this year with the year you're having, you would get 1,000 points. Wow. So what would I do with all those points? You trade them in at the end for like an Xbox. Yeah, there's like a big gift wall. And, and that's what the year-end tournament is. All the players want to go to that because that's when you cash in. Yeah, I know, I don't want to spend them all on a bunch of dumb shit, but I love the little sticky, like this hands. Yeah, they got those. And you throw them up against the window and it kind of sticks and then slowly kind of blip, 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 blip. Yeah, they got those. But I will say that... How many points are those? That's a good question. I don't know. But you do have to... Chris, will you look it up? Yeah, look it up. You do have to use all your points for the year. You can't points it's like a frequent flyer. Yeah, points don't carry over. Right. And then when did you... And I'm being serious here. Yeah. Tell me was it an epiphany, a revelation, an idea like I'm not going to make it as a tennis player and I need to, confront this. That's a thing. It's serious. Mm-hmm. I don't have that thing in me that is going to push and I should cut bait and put all my eggs in a comedy basket. A comedic eggs in a comedy. Yeah, there was a moment coming out of that moment. It wasn't, I should focus on comedy. Right. That would be insane. I'm imagining it was kind of a thought that you suppressed and a sinking
Now
reality.
Now we're getting somewhere.
Yeah, and a sinking reality.
Yeah.
Like, and when did that moment happen?
Yeah.
The definitive moment.
Thank you for that question. That's an intelligent question. And
I'm a smarty.
but it was also helpful that you said I'm being serious now.
Yes, well, sometimes I have to
I
say
know.
that.
I do actually in the book. There's a chapter or a portion called inventory. I took an inventory of my life as a tennis player, and I remember writing down on a piece of paper. And my parents.
I'm sorry. This
Yes.
is post. This is as you're writing the book. You took an inventory, or
this inventory is in the book, but also this happened in real life.
Got it.
When I was losing a lot of tennis,
Right.
And I flew home from this match in South Korea on Jeju Island where I was up 5-1 in the third. You can relate to this. And I was up 2 breaks. I had match points, and I still lost.
Wow.
And I was there was a shuttle. This is the kind of tournaments I was playing.
And I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I keep interrupting, but did you have a coach? Was this your no?
I did not have a coach because
Okay.
I didn't have enough money for a coach. You have to pay for yourself. And I ended up selling. Now, I'm serious too when I say this. I sold shares to investors of Michael Kosta's potential future earnings.
Right.
Golfers do this too, if you're familiar. So I had a chunk of money that people had invested in me, and I was running out of money. I had lost this match in South Korea. There was one shuttle to go back to the hotel, and this is how small the tournaments I was playing in. The only other person in the shuttle was the guy that just beat me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want
What
to.
nationality was he?
I think he was Korean,
Mhm.
but he could have been of different Asian country because I'm not that good at knowing.
So he could have been Lao.
He could have been Lao. He could have been Cambodian. He could have.
Oh,
I know.
wow.
Exactly. So I didn't want to sit next to the guy that just beat me. So I walked back to the hotel and I walked through this Korean fishing village, and there was all of these very unfamiliar fish, frogs, species of things, and they're all laying there dead. And I looked at them and I thought, that's how I feel. That's how I feel.
Did you talk to them?
I talked to them a little bit. I actually stopped at the internet cafe and emailed my brother, which is neither here nor there.
Then why did you bring it up?
He's a big fan of yours.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want to cut this part out of the podcast?
when Chris is it Chris or Vince?
Krins.
Who's
It's
Vince?
Krins.
Who the hell's Vince?
Vince McMahon. He's the head of
He's the head of the
WWF.
studio.
The World Wildlife Foundation.
Right.
He shares the
Do you
same
remember all
name
that
as.
when that changed?
Yeah.
That was wild.
Yeah.
Let's get back to me real quick.
Mhm.
So I fly back to the United States and I make an inventory of what I had. I had a pretty good ranking. I was in the 800s. I had no money left. I had maybe $1,000 left. And this was the big one. This is what you were getting at, David. I had very little belief. The belief had expired.
Yeah.
And I had seen players 10 years older than me that hadn't quit when they were where I was. And I really didn't want to be them.
Sure.
And I'm sure you've done this in comedy where you've seen people or on projects and you go, just make sure, Lord Almighty, that I don't make the decisions to be in that situation. And I said, I need to stop.
Yeah.
I don't have the belief to keep doing this.
And did you have to go to your investors and say,
I did.
And how did that conversation go?
I was very nervous about that. And you know what most of them said? They said, do you want more money? If you believe you can do it, we'll support you. And I said, yes. I took their money and then I fled. And that's
Are you wanted?
I'm a wanted man. No, they were some of them were like, hey, where's our money?
Mm-hmm.
And I had given them money over the years a little bit, but they lost money. Everybody lost money. Okay, I'm here to admit it. I'm here to finally come out and say it. You guys lost money.
Well, why don't you give them some of your Daily Show money?
Well,
I know it's not a lot. I know it's
yes.
Favor Nation scale. Plus 10?
Yes, plus 10.
Yeah. For those of you at home or listening, plus 10 is when they give you get scale, which is the lowest possible money you can earn. Favor Nations means everybody gets that. And then scale plus 10 means they pay your manager's commission for you.
I actually needed that explanation. I had forgotten that.
Did you not know?
Well, I knew that happens in commercials, but it doesn't happen on the Daily Show. I'll tell you that. I get commissioned. I get commission.
No, you get commission, but they're not paying for it. It's not scale plus
Right.
10.
The commercials I've done, that's what I've like the
Scale plus 10.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But
What commercials have you done? Give me a taste. Give me a little taste of Michael Kosta.
Track Phone, the nation's best 4G LTE cellular network.
Which one?
Always selling. Track Phone.
Track phone. Never heard of it.
Track Phone. That was part of the strategy behind me saying yes to that. I was like, I don't think really anybody knows about this.
Yeah. Was it on camera or just voice?
It was on camera and voice. Yep. What else have I done? I did a Coors Light thing. And then they sent,
Silver Bullet, the train that wrecks everything?
No, they sent me afterwards as a thank you, even though they pay you.
Mhm.
They sent me this refrigerator that also has a button on it.
Yes, I've seen
You've
this.
seen this?
Yeah, nice.
Well, I was living in like Chelsea with like this much space. So
Right.
what do you do with that?
Yeah,
You've done commercials.
I have. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've done it.
What have I seen? What commercials of yours have I seen?
I did a long time ago. I did a commercial for AOL.
Okay.
It's the first thing I ever did, actually. Ben
Wow.
Stiller directed it. Then I did a Coke.
Ben Stiller directed it?
Yeah.
That's wild.
And then I did a commercial for Coca-Cola, which was me, I believe Judd Apatow, Janine Garofalo, and somebody else might have done voices. And it's like close on a hubcap that's moving, and it's us talking, and that's all I remember.
What was the product?
Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola.
Yeah. And
those are great comedy casts
Mm.
in the commercial.
Yeah.
I wasn't as
it was
fortunate.
all Stiller show stuff back
I
in
see.
the
Okay.
back in the day,
Okay.
because
Okay.
I was a writer on that.
Okay.
And I don't know if I've done any other commercials besides the things on I read some stuff on the podcast.
Which you don't patronize.
Actually, what is the Chris? What is it? AG1? AG1. I use that. I use that product. I got
what is AG1?
It's like a vitamin drink.
Got it.
And powder you make, and I quite like it.
Okay.
I can't say it's had any effect, either negative or positive, but I like it, and it's, if nothing else, it's psychosomatic. No, not psychosomatic. That's not the word. It's
placebo.
Placebo.
Whatever that is.
Yeah.
It is crazy that I do a lot of vitamin stuff too, and it is crazy that there's really no way to ever measure if anything's happening.
No,
but we all do it.
I drink a lot, so
yeah.
And I
alcohol.
Yeah, alcohol. Yes. And like that's part of why my throat is a little raspy, because I stopped drinking when I was sick, and and before this Broadway show, and then I went to they do this kind of party because it's a rotating cast. When one cast leaves,
I was listening to you and Nick talk about it.
Yeah,
sounded interesting.
Yeah, so I went last night, and I had a full week of not drinking, which is pretty long for me.
Yeah.
And then I drank kind of normal last night because I'm over the sickness, but my throat is whatever. And I fucking woke up hammered.
Doesn't that suck?
Just because I had a week off.
What were you having?
I had.
What do you normally have? Like, what is
I had 2 pints of Guinness and then a shot of Tullamore Dew.
Okay.
Then I had an IPA.
Okay.
And then I had, so I had those at my local in Brooklyn. And then I went to meet my wife and a friend of ours who's in town, had one drink with them, then made my way to the party and had probably, I don't know, 3 more beers, IPAs. That's the problem.
The fucking IPAs. Can we stop with all this, everybody?
I love a juicy IPA.
Do you?
I do.
Do you?
Yes, I do.
Yes, you do.
I do.
I don't.
Okay.
And I'm proud to admit it. I know, and I'm not here.
Why are you proud to admit it?
Well, it took me a while to get there.
You know what I don't like? Turkey chili, and I'm proud of that. What the fuck is a weird thing to be proud of that you don't like IPA? And I'll say it out loud, God damn it.
I'm not proud in the sense that I'm contradicting what you like. I'm proud that I have reached the point of self-reflection that I can be honest with myself that I don't care for those. and I'm not going to let
what?
myself keep drinking them. God damn it, But you can have one.
Wait, so
David.
how old are you?
45.
So as a 45-year-old, until recently, you succumbed to peer pressure about a beer.
That's a great question, and I would say commercial pressure. Everywhere I go, there's 9 IPAs and there's one like shitty Pilsner. And I would just do the one that had the cool tap and the fun name with the frog on it, And it's always a fucking...
Even knowing you didn't care for it.
Well, I just kept... as if you can't tell me it hasn't taken you some time to learn something you do or don't like.
The second
Mark, this is where it gets confrontational,
the second I know
Chris.
I don't like something, I stop having it. I stop paying for it. I stop buying it. I stop imbibing it.
Yeah.
I don't... Why would...
All I can say to that
I think that's weird that that as an adult.
Yes. All I can say is I think you're a better man than me.
Probably.
It took me a while to realize that what my problems in life I attributed to was the hazy IPA.
I can't believe I invite this failed tennis player to come into my podcast.
He insults me.
And give me shit about drinking IPA.
Well, let me tell you another thing about that. I'm not done.
Oh, all right.
The beauty of a poured IPA, now we're on IPAs. The beauty of a poured IPA also lured me in. I love the way a nice IPA looks with the sunlight.
I will say this, and maybe this will mitigate some of the harshness that you've judged me for, but I don't like the hoppy, piney, bitter IPAs.
Okay.
I really like the juicy, hazy, somewhat fruity ones. I don't like fruit beer, but I like a hazy, juicy IPA.
And you only had one bitter IPA, and when you made your decision.
Oh yeah, I know. I'll go because going to a bar these days. I'd say in the last 10 years, I'm going to say, with all the craft beer stuff, is a pain in the ass.
Yes,
and I don't know what the fuck hints of leather. I don't know what the fuck that means.
Yes.
So I will ask questions, and the question I ask is, what kind of IPAs do you have?
Yep.
Do you have a juicy one? And then they'll say, well, we have this and this and this. And I'll say, is it bitter, hoppy, pint?
Yeah.
And they'll say, this one is. And I go, okay, I don't like that.
And they say, sir, you're literally fitting in every stereotype of Brooklyn local right now as we do this.
I guess. Meaning, who knows what they want and doesn't suffer
years of wrong decision.
I guess that's Brooklyn for you. But and then often, almost 100% of the time. Actually, there's one place I won't do it, and I'm going to talk about them in a second.
Okay.
But they'll quite often go, "Hey, you want to taste?" And they go, "Yeah," and they pour you a little bit,
nice.
And you go, "This isn't quite my style," or you go, "Yeah, great, thank you, I'll have that." So that happens a lot all over the country.
Do you
let me finish. There's one shitty fucking place called Beer Street, and it's on Vanderbilt. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I've been to Beer Street.
Okay, so I went there, and they've got 36 different beer names, and they're all like cutie names, and like a description that means nothing. And I asked them about the IPAs, and they're like, "Oh, we have this and this and this." Well, I wouldn't call this juicy, but it's closer in that style. And I said, "Oh, okay, can I get a little taste?" And they're like, we don't do that.
Oh my!
I'm like, "What do you mean you don't do that?" I mean, everyone would. How it's this much?
Yeah,
it's a thimbleful to see if you want it. I'm like, just so I know, I don't want to waste. You're going to charge me $9 for this craft beer, and I don't want to. And they refused. They said, "We don't do that. It's our policy. We don't like a little taste." And I'm like, "Well, fuck you." And I really got into it because I think that's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
But okay, so be it. So I left, and I went back there several months later, knowing their policy. Different guy behind the counter. I was a little buzzed, and some people there, and I went in there just to be shitty and just to go, "Oh, can I have a taste?" No, and I go, what kind of policy is that? Now I'm not going to, whatever.
Right.
But fuck them.
Just to rile it up. It's not a good name, Beer Street.
No, and fuck that place.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously,
Yeah.
what a ridiculous. That's our policy. We don't give you.
I'm surprised, actually. I'm surprised that's
I'm
their policy.
surprised because, I mean, all over the country, literally, and they'll offer it. You don't have to ask. They'll go, "Oh, you want a little taste? Great. Yeah, this is great. Thank you." Or, "Oh, I'll get the other one." And what did it cost them? And now I'm going to sit in that bar. I'm going to have several beers. I drink a lot. I'm going to have friends with me. They drink a lot.
Yep.
I'm going to tip.
Yep.
And all it cost them was a thimbleful, maybe 2 tablespoons worth of beer.
I do think that's, in the wine world, that's par for the course.
Yeah. Well, it should be.
Yeah. And they even have to open a bottle, whereas the beer world is already tapped.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's how it is with like lobster rolls and can I have I don't know, how does it taste? Let me give you a sample.
Turkey Reubens, I know that's a thing.
Turkey Reuben,
they always
Omaha.
Omaha stick.
Do you know that the Reuben was created originally in Omaha, Nebraska?
I did not know that.
That's true. How about that? You wouldn't think it, would you?
I would not think that.
Because Omaha never really occurs to you in any sense, throughout your day. You never think about Omaha. But next time you have a Reuben, see a Reuben, smell a Reuben, Omaha, Nebraska.
I think there's a variation of poker called Omaha.
There is.
Is there?
Yeah.
Is it Texas Hold'em?
Yep.
Omaha?
No, I think it's Omaha.
Is the game?
Yeah, and it's Texas Hold'em. You know how that's played.
Yep.
You get your cards from. You have the flop, and then Omaha, you don't get cards, you get Reubens.
That's how it works.
So everybody gets 5 Reubens.
And you bet Reubens. God. If you looked in my internet history, and I'm not offering that, but you would see that I Googled yesterday IBUs. You know how the beer menus will sometimes give you that IBU?
Oh, yeah.
It's the bitter units.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Have you ever seen those?
Yes.
Some of the beer menus at some of these breweries will say like this has a IBU of, and it gives you an indication
that's good to know.
Yeah, and so I've learned this in my
I know flight. ABV. That's important to me because I don't want to get too fucked up.
Is that that's the
alcohol content?
Alcohol, right.
And gravity. In the UK, they'll list the gravity, and I think that's
what does gravity mean?
I think that's also the ABV.
I like that we're doing this with beer. It's getting so focused.
Yeah, I like the beer. I find I find it a little annoying, the pretension behind it.
Right.
I
dream of the Hefeweizen Franziskaner. Have you ever had that?
I'm not a Hefeweizen guy. Okay. I don't like wheat beer. I don't like the bitter
Well, 2
IPAs.
Can play this game, huh? I dream about it when I've dreamt of drinking that beer.
It's got kind of I don't like the aftertaste.
Banana, bubble gum.
Oh, I don't get that at all.
Oh, yeah.
I get like a little sour. I know some people, they make sour ales and people like that.
Those are not for me.
Those are not for me either.
We agree.
Okay.
We agree.
Well, I'm glad we were able to come out of here with some agreement. It's like Scientologists, is taught to leave the conversation on an agreement.
Is that how they do that?
Yeah.
Have you ever done one of those stress tests? I have not.
Personality tests? I've done 4 of them, I believe. For real. I'm not joking.
Like the Scientology one?
Yeah.
Okay. They always would sit on the Suns or whatever it was, Hollywood Boulevard. I always thought I would do it, but never did.
I went to the Asha. The Asha is their, that was their tax dodge. They created the Sea Org.
Oh.
It's the big blue building. I don't know if it's still there on Sunset in Vermont or something like that.
Yeah.
And prior to that, I did it once in Boston. I did it again in LA at the Celebrity Center. I did Asha. So 3 times. Done it 3 times. And it is the funniest thing to me because it hasn't changed, and it's such nonsense, blatantly.
Right.
It's called. I might be messing up a word or two, but it's basically the Oxford. I know that's in there. The Oxford Standardized Personality Test, which doesn't. They just
Right,
made it up.
right,
They just
right,
made
right.
up. They threw on the word Oxford because we associate it with
With the dictionary, right.
or the university in England.
Right.
Standardized personality test, and then there are 100 questions, and they're all designed so that, and they take your answers. It's yes, no, or maybe, or a lot,
Okay.
a little. I can't remember
Okay.
exactly what it is. There's 3 options, and
Okay.
it's either it's sometimes, never, or often.
Okay.
And it's all designed so that whatever you answer, they can come. They did this to me, and I go in there knowingly. And they basically show you on this graph that was spit out of a machine, right? So it's
Okay.
like you have your 50% mark, and then 50 above, 50 below, and I mean, when they give me the test results, it's like, I'm shocked you haven't committed suicide,
Right, every time.
It just and it's
So a machine gives the results to give it that standardized vibe.
and it's like
Yes.
a graph, it goes up and down, and then it'll say. Now I've been taking it in several years, but the times I've done it, so I assume it hasn't changed much. But it's so it's like you yell at your parents, and whatever you say, however you answer, and there's like 100 questions that like you never yell at your parents. Well, that's not healthy because sometimes you yell at your parent. You shouldn't. You always yell at your parents. That's terrible.
Right.
Whatever the thing is.
Right.
So there's like that, and then they give you the thing. And I've used an e-meter. I've had that audit.
That's
done.
the one, the audit.
But
Just
that
out of curiosity, just out of adventuring into these worlds.
Yes. And so I have an e-meter at home. The Mark IV, I believe it's called the Mark, MARK, and then Roman numeral 4.
Okay.
Something electrogram
Oh my God.
meter thing, and it's got like it's garbage. It's like made in China,
nonsensical, right?
And they cost like $4,000.
Really?
Yeah, because they're just it's like a Trump thing,
right?
They're just suckering their and people buy it, and they buy the volumes of books and blah blah blah.
Yeah, I used to go to that museum. Not this. There's the Museum of Psychiatry.
Oh, on Hollywood, yeah,
on Hollywood. But I used to go to the Museum of Death a few
Where is
times.
that?
I don't know if it's still there, but
is that Scientology?
No, the Museum of Psychiatry, I believe, was Scientology funded.
Was, yes,
okay.
Absolutely, 100%.
So there was this like husband-wife couple that had the Museum of Death, which was on Sunset, and I think it was on Sunset. It was like a collection of deathly things. They played the Faces of Death movies. They had
Remember when you're 40, so you're
45.
old enough to remember when like that was a big deal.
Yeah, I mean there was always a kid in your
pre-internet
school that had a backpack with one of the tapes in them.
Yeah, and then and some was clearly, as you get older, like some was clearly staged bullshit. But the monkey, remember eating the monkey brains?
I don't remember that one.
How could you forget that one?
I don't know if I saw that one, but there was like 9 of these things, right?
Yeah.
I remember this woman running to catch a train, and it was said that she was trying to get an earlier train to go home on a Friday to see her family, and she wasn't looking, and another train
I think I've seen that.
Wiped her out.
Yeah.
I wish I honestly, truly say, much like some of those IPAs I forced myself to drink, I wish I never saw that.
Right.
I wish I never saw that.
There's one thing. There used to be a website, and I was kind of into this stuff until I wasn't.
There is a definitive point. Yes.
Yeah, and like I remember getting the Bud Dwyer tape.
Okay.
He was a state treasurer for Pennsylvania and held a press conference and shot himself on live TV.
I remember that.
And that's where the song "Nice Shot." That's what the song "Nice Shot" is about.
I don't
real.
know if you're telling the truth or not.
I'm totally telling the truth. "Nice Shot" is about Bud Dwyer.
Okay.
And I was like, "Oh man, this is rad." I was like, "What, 19, 20?"
Right,
Like that. And we used to trade tapes and stuff, and moving on from Faces of Death, which was a lot of it was bullshit, and then.
Right.
There was a website, early website called, I believe it was called rotten.com. Yeah? I'm gonna nod.
Yeah, I remember some
And
of this.
I remember the last, I saw some things like, because I saw the lady get hit by the train, like, oh, this is terrible. And then I remember seeing something, this is going back, and saying, I'm never going to this site again.
Yeah,
I'm never
it
doing
does.
And I stopped. I
Yeah.
just stopped. But it was I believe it was a Russian soldier.
Oh gosh.
It was either anyway, I can't remember what faction was doing it to the other faction, but he was alive and they were decapitating him live. And it was
Yeah.
all these.
And you were jerking off to this.
I'd already come.
Right.
Yeah. Just from the title. And then, took the butt plug out and
Said, I will never watch this again.
and said, I'll never wash this again, is what I said.
We're laughing because it's well. We don't have to explain why we're laughing. We're laughing because it's funny.
It was so depraved and awful,
Yeah.
and I was like, what am I doing?
I
This
know.
is. I mean,
Yeah.
I think there's a thing with Faces of Death was almost like cartoonish.
Yeah.
And you see some of these things, and you've seen so much worse in fictional films, right? Horror
Right,
films or
right.
whatever,
True.
and
there
it's
was-
more graphic, and it's more,
Yeah.
and then, and then the idea that there were people going online who really got off on this shit was so disturbing and depressing. Like, I'll never.
In college, somebody sent me those. I thought it was two different girls blowing a horse.
I haven't seen that.
I don't know why. Here, it's on my phone right here. Would you like to say? But that's an example of something that I have seen. I said I don't ever want to see that again.
Yeah.
But it didn't affect me like the woman running for the train. But
Yeah.
here I am still remembering it. But yeah, some of these things, and maybe we weren't ready for the internet. You bringing up rotten.com is
It was early,
Yeah.
and it was just the worst of the worst.
It was.
And people gleefully
Yeah.
like, "Oh man,
yeah.
fuck that dude,"
Yeah.
and it's just so depressing.
I remember being 12 or 13 and learning about JFK and really finding it fascinating how Lee Harvey Oswald was killed.
Mhm.
That Jack Ruby photograph.
Mhm.
Something about us as humans that really did something intriguing.
Have you seen the where they took that photograph and they put musical instruments in front of them?
No.
Oh, it's great. It's really funny. Like they.
It
I think
looks
Lee
like
Harvey Oswald is singing, I want to say, and then Jack Ruby's. There's like a.
instead of being assassinated, it looks like they're playing.
They just put, it looks
Right,
like they're in a
right,
band.
right.
And then the guy, the sheriff, who's like, the older
Right.
white dude is like, back like that is like maybe playing bass. I
Yeah.
can't remember, but it's
Yeah.
pretty funny.
Faces of Death had a political assassination in it that was pretty gnarly too. Yeah.
That was real.
Yes.
Because half of them were
Yeah,
fake. But you don't remember. Oh, you might not have seen that
I
one.
don't know if I saw that.
So
one.
there was
I'm sure I would have remembered it.
It was like it's narrated and,
Oh, jeez.
in the jungles of whatever,
Yeah,
the king, when he has a visitor, has a feast, and the delicacy is live monkey brain. And they have these monkey heads.
Are you talking about Raiders of the Lost Ark?
No, was that it?
Was that what it was?
Because
I would assume that.
am I conflating? Because I know Spielberg directed the first three Faces of Death.
Oh man.
All right. Well, Michael, this has been a treat. You're
done talking for the day after this.
Your pleasure to. Well, I have a Zoom call.
Right.
Pleasure to talk to, and the book is called Lucky Loser,
That's right.
and it's why lucky?
Well, it's a play on words. And in tennis,
It's not really a play on words.
well, in tennis, if you lose in the last round of qualifying, meaning you do not qualify for the main draw, but somebody in the main draw pulls out of the tournament, on occasion, someone who lost will get
I
entered
see.
in. And that person's called a lucky loser.
Lucky loser. That makes sense.
So,
okay.
And then it's also like, I'm a loser because I couldn't make it in tennis, but I'm lucky because I made it in comedy. Or did I? And that's what we'll debate for years and what your YouTube commenters will discuss.
We'll debate it for years.
Yeah, for years.
Wow, what goes on in that head of yours?
I appreciate you having me.
Yeah. No, it was truly a pleasure.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
I end every episode with asking a question from my 7-year-old daughter.
Oh, that's fun.
And
she asks.
She just comes up with, and she'll go,
Different
I have
question.
a question for your podcast.
I like that. I'm not at that point with my daughter yet where she could do that, but I'm excited. That's a good idea. I like that.
Yeah. You said she's almost 5?
She's almost 5.
So she's starting to say funny stuff.
Oh my God. Very funny stuff.
Yeah, that's the best, man. But one time when my daughter was 3, 3, she was coming down the stairs and she stopped in the middle and sat down. We were all like at the bottom of the stairs ready to go out. She came down the stairs, sat there, and she goes, "This is as far as I go." And like, what? That was the most adult, weird.
I love that.
This is as far as I go.
Yeah.
And like, really, like, hey guys, it was the funniest.
And they're so genuine. It's exactly what she meant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know where she got that or what. And then when she was around the same age, she was asking about genitalia, different whatever, and so describing things, and she goes, "So a penis is like a silly vagina." Like, yeah, you could say that. Sure.
That's a great description.
Yeah.
My daughter, we said, "Why aren't you asleep?" And she said, "I'm asleep, but my eyes won't let me." And I go, I've never heard anybody say that before, but I understand it.
What does your wife do?
She imports wine.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Are you a wine guy?
Just through osmosis. That's how I consume it, through osmosis. But I've had a conflicted is the wrong word. My relationship with alcohol.
I think the short answer is no.
Yes, my relationship with alcohol has been all over the place, and wine is something I enjoy from time to time, but I don't know a lot about it.
Yeah, I don't know a lot about it, but I know what I like.
Yeah.
And this may come as a shock to you. I don't order or drink wine that I don't like.
That doesn't shock me.
All right.
I unfortunately keep ordering wine I don't like.
All right.
So I want to hear your daughter's question.
Okay, here it is. Michael, my daughter would like to know, why do asteroids go so fast when they come to Earth, but they're not so fast when they're in space?
I just was reading this Neil deGrasse Tyson book that answers space questions, and it's really fun to read because he could be totally bullshitting the whole thing. I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
I guess my short answer to your daughter is that's more about perception. It seems like they're going faster near Earth than farther away in space, but I don't actually know. It's a very smart question. Your kid is very smart.
Well, she doesn't know the answer, so she can't be that smart.
That's true.
You know the answer.
It'd be crazier.
You have an answer, so you're
my
smarter
answer is
than
perception. David Cross's daughter.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me, everybody.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
That was a Headgum podcast.